HorrorDeconstruction.
What's up, everybody? It's the HorrorDeconstruction. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, but most likely on YouTube. Give us a like, share, and subscribe. Let people know you listen to the show. Videos, Komp and
Moof.
as well as
Thea.
And today's film is
The Night House 2020, but also it says 2021. I don't know, 2020.
The Night House 2020. A widow begins to uncover her recently deceased husband's disturbing secrets. Directed by David Bruckner. Written by Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski. Starring Rebecca Hall, Sarah Goldberg, and Vondi Curtis Hall. So, why did we pick The Night House, Thea?
Did I pick it? I think you said it was
right.
Good, and I was like, well, that's all I need.
That's a really interesting
because we need
story.
to watch a good one.
This story is
So,
really interesting.
It felt like it would be a refreshing change from watching horror shit.
Yeah, we need to counterbalance for the episode tomorrow with Halloween Kills. So we saw
That's
Night
correct.
House. How did you guys hear about Night House besides me saying it?
I didn't.
Okay. Thea, did you hear about it before or anywhere else?
Yeah, it had been on my list. I don't know why. I think maybe just because I think I'd seen a trailer somewhere.
Yeah, I think they did some pretty good ads for it, right? They did some good ads. I know
Yeah.
the first ad I saw for
There
Night
was
House.
a push for it.
Right. The first ad I saw for the Night House, because they treated this film ad-wise like it was Hereditary, like a thinking person's horror film.
Yeah.
So as I was
I would say
watching,
that's sort of true.
Which I think is fair.
yeah, I would say that too. Yeah. So I was watching the first trailer, and didn't pay attention to. I was like, oh, okay, so it's a haunted house movie. So I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember watching at night. I saw a secondary trailer where they show. I saw it in the periphery of my eye, and it gave me the fucking heebie-jeebies.
Mm-hmm.
It's the part where they show.
Racist.
There was something
Hebe.
there was something. Okay, sorry. The hobie-jobies, where they showed her looking down a corridor, and you see a silhouette of a person move that's not there. And I just looked back and I couldn't find. I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like that bothered.
Because we've all had moments
Right.
like that where you see something down the hallway. It was one of my favorite things
Yeah.
that they did multiple times in that movie. In this movie.
Uh-oh, Danny, Thea needs to take her meds. But anyway, so
What?
with this, she's seeing things.
But like,
Danny.
where you
kidding.
feel like you see something down a hall, like a face or a figure. But you,
I don't know.
Like, it's something that Hereditary
Danny, that
did
sounds a
too,
little,
kind of.
I've
Pray-
never
pray
had
to
that
me.
happen.
Okay, I'm just gonna hang up. I'm gonna
No.
go. Bye.
No.
Danny, Thea. This is actually us bringing you in to talk to a therapist. Oh, no, but she's right. There's like you see
Too
shit.
late.
But anyway,
No, I'm
but
always
there-
scared. I still get scared of shit being under my bed.
But the scary thing is, there's always great jokes to that, but I won't do it. There's something that really spooked the shit out of me in this movie that we'll get to in a second. So why don't you set up the film? Let's let Danny do this one. Let's hear how this goes.
Good.
Danny, set up this movie. He's gonna say the whole movie.
This
Go ahead.
lady is a teacher, and there's this woman that wants her kid to get a redo on a thing, and then she tells us,
What
the
the
audience, through telling the kid that her husband killed himself on a boat. And then you find out that the husband left this like mysterious note, and she's in the house trying to figure it out, and then she starts seeing ghosts in her dreams.
Okay, that's good
I mean,
enough.
that last part was pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, it explains
Yeah.
it.
I don't know why you started with her being a teacher.
Yeah, that was like 20 minutes
Well,
into the movie.
Honestly, if I ever had someone die like that, I would totally use it to scare the shit out of people the way she did. That was great.
It was very satisfying.
So Rebecca
Yeah.
Hall is the lead in this film. I think she is directing her first film with this movie called Passing, which is about two African American women that are light skinned. I know one of the actors
Yes.
is Ruth Negga from the show
And the
Preacher.
other is Tessa Thompson.
That show
Yeah.
Preacher was fucking awful. Ruth Negga was great in it. She's a very good actor. But Rebecca Hall is an actor that I've seen in a lot of shit. But I just
totally
where did I see
recognize her.
from? She's very good. She's a very good actor. You could tell she's English, right? She's got to be English, right?
She was in
yeah.
another horror movie, wasn't she?
Let's
I
see.
don't
She
know.
was in. Oh God, she has a lot of credits. She was in The Prestige. So maybe that's where I saw her from. But she has a very particular look.
The Awakening, that's the one.
She's. Was that a horror movie, right?
Yep, and it's British and it's in the 1920s.
I heard that was good, actually.
It was good.
She's a very beautiful person. She was in the film The Town also, and then Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which is a Almodovar film, which is...
It's not the Christine with the car, though, unfortunately.
No, it's not. But anyway, so she plays this... and I like that they did it subtly in the film, like just from her at the beginning of the film coming back from her funeral of her husband. And we find out that her husband... And I'll tell you this, within the first 10... It's in the first 7 minutes of the film. Yeah. There's a visual in the movie that's like... It's very subtle. It scared the fuck out of me. I was looking at it because she's walking through the house. This is at night, right? This is before she sees, the dock and stuff like that. She closes. There's a door that's open, like the hinge is loose, and she opens the door and she just lets it close. She's walking away, and the door starts to close by itself. And I don't think anybody noticed this, but you see an actual silhouette of a person there with white eyes.
Oh yeah.
Door.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like I was looking at that shit going, oh my god, like that bothered me, because to me that felt the same way in Hereditary. You know when she sees her mother's silhouette in the darkness of the room. Because
this is what I was saying.
No, I know that's what I'm saying, but I agree with you. But you talking about like in real life it was happening.
Well, I thought you were talking just more like the overall feeling of it than stuff like that, but yeah, I guess that too.
Thea, we would say it was good if it was fake, but if it's real, we mock you.
Here we are.
But anyway, so it has that. So why don't we get into Rebecca Hall's character? So Thea, tell me a little bit about Beth.
So Beth has struggled with depression in her past. She tells a friend this because she didn't really expect her husband to kill himself because he had never struggled with anything, or at least never talked to her about anything like that. So she starts to go like, well, did I get like pass it on to him somehow?
Because
what
happened to her when she was young, Thea?
She had a near-death experience. Well, no, she died when she was young. She died.
What's your social security number and your credit card number?
After being in an accident.
Okay.
And when she came back, she eventually told her husband what happened to her, and when he asked what she saw basically in the afterlife, and she said nothing, and he always thought that the opposite was true.
Right. So essentially what we find out, there's this mystery that's going on as to why she's starting to see the boat being the gate towards the boat being locked. She's seeing weird shit out the side of her eyes, stuff like that. And
steps on the dock out of the water.
Right, which is how her husband killed himself by shooting himself in the mouth or shooting himself in the head in the boat, which is really. I thought that was a really like realistic scene when she's explaining that to that Karen who wanted her.
I would absolutely do that. That would be so good.
You would do
I
that
should just make it up. Anybody fucks with me, I should just be like, do you know what?
Yeah, you could do that now.
You would do that at McDonald's when they don't give you the right amount of fries.
Exactly. I'm a reverse Karen.
Oh God.
A Ken. That's what they call Kens. So, Danny, how would you what do you think about the scares in this film? Did they work for you?
I do think so. That they worked, yeah. But I don't know. There was something missing.
I honestly I think so too, because here's the thing, I like the movie. I think it's a gorgeously shot film. It's great.
Definitely
paced.
Really nice looking. Yeah.
It feels like it's missing half an hour or 40 minutes of something that I can't figure it out. Because when I was watching, because they sort of have a gigantic reveal of two things, and I thought it was going to go into Lovecraft territory or something weird, because they were talking about like mathematics. There's a thing called, I forget what it's called, mathematic. It has to do with the supernatural and trigonometry and all that shit. And that they reference that in the film, because the film is about like doubles or doubling, or they explain that it's about that, but they just say it. I think they introduce an element so it'll explain off weird shit, and they don't go into it.
It's like a little bit of red herring, but like basically he builds a version of their house that is backwards so that he can try and trick the thing that's trying to make him kill her.
Which doesn't make any, to me, that doesn't make any sense as you're saying it. There was a film, which is going to heavily, obviously we've spoiled the film already, but there was a film that I saw as a very young child, a TV film. And I always thought that it had the greatest, I was like, this is such a dope premise, but it's like in a stupid television movie. It was from the 80s, and it's called From the Dead of Night, right? It's from 1989, and it stars
Okay.
Lindsay Wagner, right? So I saw this as a kid, and there was a scene in it that spooked the shit out of me. It was about this woman who had a near-death experience, right? She drowns in a pool, and then she leaves her body, and it's actually a pretty cool sequence for a movie that was made like not that expensive. And she goes through a tunnel, like, you know, the tunnel. She's floating through the tunnel and shit like that. And as she's floating, and this has always scared me as a kid, she's floating through this dark tunnel. It's like this blue light as in a circle. And you see these shapes pop out of the tunnel, like these people that are like silhouettes of people. They're not saying anything. They just step out, and she's passing
Sounds
six
sexy.
of them. She's passing 6 of these people, but then she's brought back to life. So the premise of that film is she was brought back to life, and these 6 things that saw her in purgatory are trying to kill her throughout the whole movie. And I was like, well, so as a kid, I was like, that would make if they remade that movie, it'd be so fucking good, right? And essentially that's what they did here. So that took a little bit of shine off the movie for me, for the fact that they
Well, I had never heard that.
You're
Right,
like,
no,
well,
you
I've
guys
seen
don't know.
this idea done before.
Every idea's been done.
Right, no, yeah, right. But that movie had stayed in my mind for many years. That's the thing, because that sequence was so fucking cool. I was like, damn, that would be a great movie. So they did it here, but they do it more as like a toss away explanation, as in like it's a supernatural thing. And the thing is, the film I think has.
So yeah, we're not as good as Alex. We don't
You know
know
what I mean.
this reference.
That's right.
But the film is actually shot with such, you know, restraint and like gravitas. Even having that really good actor, what is that? That guy that you've seen in everything, Vondi Curtis Hall. You know, the guy that was the neighbor.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that guy's cool. I
You
definitely
see that guy in
recognize
everything
him.
too. Yeah, that guy's in everything. And it also had Sarah Goldberg, who is usually in the show. What is that show that she's in with Bill Hader? Somebody knows?
No.
Okay, so she's in a TV. She's in a show on HBO. I'm begging you.
I think
to.
you're lying. I think
She
you're lying. I don't think
is
she's in a show on
in
HBO.
A show.
Barry is the show.
Barry.
Okay.
I have no
I'm
idea.
telling
I've never
you.
heard of it.
No, listen to me.
I haven't seen it.
I'm telling you right now. Okay, if every other shows that I don't watch it, because I did not like Bill Hader. There was something about, you know how there's certain actors I don't like them. I saw Barry. Barry is one of the best series I've ever seen ever. It's a show that's like 10 episodes long. It's only 30 minutes each episode. It's about a guy who's a hitman, and then he
Okay.
has to hide so he has to become like an actor. I can't give enough praise for that show. I'm telling you to please watch. Both
Is
of you
it
to
funny?
please watch it.
I have heard
It
this
is.
from multiple people, and
It is
agree
funny.
that it's probably great,
It
but
is
also
funny, yeah.
it is the least interesting premise that I've
It
ever heard
is.
in my
That's
life.
what I thought too. But it's an incredible
Yeah,
show.
but you know,
because-
if it's on HBO, it's probably good because HBO doesn't fuck around.
You're true.
I'm not kidding when I say you guys should at least give the first 2 episodes a watch. It's fucking
I
incredible.
actually don't think I've ever seen a bad show on HBO.
There's
ever.
there's an actor named Anthony Carrigan who's on it. Who's this guy who has alopecia? He's bald and everything, like somebody from that show that we were talking about earlier. He's very good in it. Just trust me in watching. That
Oh,
show.
Arrested Development.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I just lost my mind. But it's a fantastic show. Anyway, so she plays her best friend in this film. She's excellent in this movie too because she plays like, sort of a bitch in that show. Like I'm just like, she pisses me off in that show, but she's great in here, and it comes off as a genuine character. Like, you know, her best friend is genuine. Rebecca Hall's character is genuine. Everybody in this film comes off as genuine, and I liked it a lot. And what were the other films that David Bruckner did, Danny? Yeah, I know my English.
I have no idea. Hold on. Let me look. David Bruckner.
You said that he worked on the Fantastic Film.
Oh, he did The Ritual, which was cool. That was the one
that's
where
what
they're in the woods and there's that creature that they have to
That was very cool.
worship.
That was a good
or
movie, and
whatever.
it had probably the last good creature that I saw in a horror film.
Yeah, I like that
really well
creature
done.
thing when he has the little hands to make them pray and shit. He
Yeah.
did that terrible Southbound, but he did, I guess, a good one in the
The
Southbound.
Accident. It said
The
accident.
accident,
right?
which was the
So
hospital
that's the
one.
one. That's the hospital one, which was the best one in the whole film.
But it's
like,
not a
I was
good
like,
movie overall.
In VHS, you said that he did.
Amateur Night.
So Amateur Night, I believe, is the part with the stripper who is the call girl, who was the Banshee or whatever she was, Siren.
Yeah.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
Danny
Which
and
was
I,
also pretty good.
Yeah, that was very
Wasn't
good.
it?
And we reviewed the movie adaptation of that.
And it wasn't directed by him, and it was like stupid. It was not that good.
Yeah.
So this guy obviously, and he did The Signal. So Thea, if you want to talk a little bit about The Signal, a movie that you enjoyed, right?
Yeah, well, and you were right. I forgot that it was in 3 different parts, but he directed the first part of it, which was basically like the intro.
The adulterous couple.
Story. Yeah, yeah.
dare
So
they.
it was the couple that was sleeping around behind her husband's back, and but he's sort of like an abuser and a shitty asshole, and so he directed that part of it, but. The whole movie itself is quite good, which is about an audio infection, basically.
And I guess he worked on the Creepshow TV
How is that
series.
not just a complete ripoff of Cell, though, Thea?
I'm sure it is.
Well, and it's
I
possibly
think honestly
too,
though,
right?
I think it came out the same time as the novel, so I don't know if
I think it did. Actually, it might have predated it slightly, but either way, it was around the same time.
It's just one of those things. It's like the Meteorite movies, you know, when
it's in the zeitgeist, y'all.
So he also did two episodes of Creepshow. You can't pay me to watch that fucking show because I saw one episode about the Evil Dead, and it was the worst shit I saw.
That's the only one I watched, actually.
Oh God, how was it? What did you think of it?
It was fun. Like it was campy. It was fun.
I still haven't seen it.
They couldn't even do the demon POV version correct. You know how they ran around with the fucking demon looking.
Was Sam Raimi not directing?
They fucked it. No, Ted Raimi was in it because he was collecting a check.
He's in it. Yeah.
And he's also working on. They did post production on the new Hellraiser film. So. That's I think for Hulu or something like that. So we'll see how.
It's
that
a
goes.
girl, right?
I hope that's fun. It is, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, it's a British actress.
I think it's.
That's gonna be.
I don't think she's. I think she's American.
American?
I think her name's Jamie Clayton. I want to say.
Okay, right. It is. You're right because I think that because I think Pinhead was originally androgynous.
Honestly, anything's gonna be better than the fucking the current. Well, the last franchise.
Oh God, was it
that last one we
Hellraiser?
watched was so
straight
stupid.
To DVD.
It was like Hellraiser in jail or some shit like that. The last time we saw it was awful, and then he ended up.
And the new actor as him looks so weird. So I'm sure that this chick will be great.
All we gotta say is at the end of the last Hellraiser movie, he ends up being human and being a bum in the street, and that's his torture. It was awful. Yeah. It's an awful movie. Anyway, so back to this film. I think what were there things that didn't work for you guys with The Night House?
So yeah, you can go if you want.
Honestly, I really enjoyed it all the way through.
Oh,
I thought it was an interesting mystery. I liked that there are a couple of I liked that we introduced those like architecture ideas, like that.
Yeah,
like
I wanted more of that. Yeah.
Like he was, because that we kind of go down that path, but we don't have to. Like, I don't mind that we don't info dump explicit. Like, he conjured this thing or whatever it could have been.
You only see the Night House for about 10 minutes in the movie or something, right? 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was a cool, like, depression look, basically. Like, which is like, it could have all been in her head, and she was just experiencing extreme grief and all this.
Yeah, I think it was a.
Wait, so you don't think that you think it's possible the bodies weren't really there?
I think it's real, but I think there's a version of it where like you could look at that ending and go like, oh, maybe she created this whole thing in her head.
Well,
to make it make sense almost.
For the reveal of the movie, it was stated that the husband that killed himself, he did it because whatever thing saw her in the in purgatory or whatever wanted her back. So it was whispering into her husband's ear to kill her.
Yeah.
And then he just decided to kill women that looked just like his wife.
To confuse it, to like throw it off, and it seemed to be working because he wasn't killing her, and then it sounded like the last person he tried to kill, it didn't work, and he could tell that it wasn't like waking the thing up in him, basically.
I can imagine that guy's in hell going, "Hey, wait a minute!"
So does that make him bad though? Because he did kill a bunch of innocent people.
Oh yeah, he's a bad person.
To sacrifice.
He could have. Great. He could have just killed himself off the top.
Yeah, right. Like I would have either killed my wife to lessen the numbers, or I would have killed myself. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no like fixing that. You know what I mean? He killed.
But his love for her was so great that he
decided to kill loads of innocent people who were probably great people.
Yeah, I know that part when she's walking and those two girls run by her and jump over the thing. I was like, oh shit, like that got me. So that was good. But yeah, I think there are elements in here that are introduced, and it doesn't take away from the film that they're introduced and not sort of explain. Like you don't need explanation. Like it's fucking supernatural. but I would have loved to seen if the night house itself would have been like if her final thing would have been in that night house, like her final scenes.
Yeah.
That would have been great
Yeah.
because the big thing that I felt sort of the parts where she's walking around the house and you see the shadow man walking around and shit like that, like because he's in corners. That felt a little bit like 90s cheese a little bit to me because they did it like twice before.
Right.
But I did like parts when she's looking. I think she was looking up at the ceiling and you see the shape of a man's head.
I just
down
didn't
at her.
understand. I don't know if I understand the ending, and the whole thing felt very anticlimactic.
She's fucked because this guy's gonna follow her forever.
Right.
And when she dies, she's gonna see him again. So I don't
So
understand.
was she doomed to go like be possessed by this guy in death or something? Like,
I have absolutely no idea. Like I don't know.
I think it just wants her to die. It's kind of like it's a weird like manifestation kind of like of her depression to me, or that's what it felt
I
like
see.
at the
Yeah, I
end
can see
when
what
he's
you're
when
saying,
she's
yeah.
having the conversation with him and he's like, just do it, basically.
So this is like a
there's
grief
nothing else for you.
Yeah, this is like a grief anti-suicide movie, I guess. You know what I mean? Because
Kind
at
of.
the end, it is against suicide, but then it's also like I guess it's saying live your life because you're gonna be pretty doomed with this dude. Like, so when she ends up,
so is she like basically doomed to hell or something after she dies?
well, if whoever that is still around, I guess, because you gotta imagine like she's gonna die one day, right? She's old. And then this guy's gonna be like, "Hey, baby, how's it going? You know how long I waited for you over here?"
Maybe he's a really nice
And he's
guy.
gonna talk just like that.
Maybe he's a very nice guy and he just wants to see her in person.
He better not be ageist, because if she dies like an old lady, and then she's like looking for.
He's like,
comfort
"Oh,
in
you're
the
not my
afterlife,"
type
he goes, "Nah,
anymore."
wait a minute, I'm sort of into, I'm into Asian girls now. All of a sudden, he's like,
He's racist
God.
and ageist.
I can't stand white women anymore.
What is happening?
What do you expect the show that we do? What do you think? Yeah, so I thought it was a really good film. I thought that the elements that it described, they had a lot of potential with that shit, but they just didn't use it. But that doesn't take away from the whole experience of the movie.
It just didn't feel like very anticlimactic.
It didn't to me, but maybe
There can't
maybe
be a
because
climax
I've
to
known
this
depression.
film, really.
It was interesting.
I guess I just expected. I don't know.
Hey man, I'm going through depression, so I understand what
I
this
know,
movie's
man.
going through.
I am
so
too.
It's like
Is it too real?
But I'm important. But yeah, so just kidding, Dan. We're all important here.
That's
Anyway,
true.
well, Thea's seeing things on the side of her.
No,
But
I'm
yeah, I
just losing
think
it,
that it could have been very anticlimactic because where do you go with the finale of the movie? Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing wants to kill her, so her whole point is not to die. But it's not this actual physical creature that's running after her. It's all about emotion and grief and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's like the idea that death has seen you and wants you, basically.
But is it going to be
resist.
like every night she goes to bed, this thing's gonna be fucking
No.
making her harass? Like
This
No,
is like
because she said no, but it'll be a constant thing because like it's the thing that you live with, which is you could kill yourself at any time.
this
And
is
there are and the things that stop you are people usually, like people or knowing that like there are things in your life that are worth staying for.
yeah.
This is like a sexier, lazier version of Final Destination. It's just not outwardly looking to kill her.
Yeah.
But
it's
I
whispering
did
in other people's ears to kill her.
Yeah, you would think it would tell her to kill herself or something like that. That doesn't make any sense.
But
for her,
and
like,
but also maybe it's only him because she told him that idea that there is nothing.
Well, she told the friend though. So now.
So then maybe the friend
Uh-oh.
it'll happen to the friend at some point.
Yeah.
that's the
Right?
sequel.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's
So
Oh
I
god, there
kinda-
can't be a sequel to a movie.
I hope not. I understand Danny's frustration with the finale. I could understand where people be like, "Well,
It's not frustration. It was just like I'm a little like I don't know. It just felt
But
like
I
a little less than what I expected.
I think the film, much like we were talking about, like Hereditary, it is about dealing with grief and stuff like that. So I think it's an interesting take on it, and it's a realistic take on it. I really thought. she
Yeah,
was
see,
a
if
great
somebody
fucking
said
actor
that
in it.
this movie was a comparable of dealing with grief, I mean, I wouldn't agree, but I'd be like, okay, I could see that.
But at least it's closer.
But they said
Yeah.
Halloween Kills is a better depiction of grief than
I can't.
Hereditary. Like,
Yeah, it's-
suck my dick.
Look, they're promoting
Listen to
it.
tomorrow's episode. You'll hear that episode. So Danny, what rating would you give The Night House 2020/2021?
I give that it was very well shot and well acted. I give it an 8 out of 10. There's a boogeyman telling you to kill your wife. So instead of doing that, you're a really good guy. You're just going to kill a bunch of innocent
He's a
women.
great guy. He's a great guy. I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. telling your best friend in the whole wide world who is worried about you that you love them. Mm-hmm. Thea, what rating would you give? That was a wholesome one, wasn't it?
That was
lovely.
wholesome.
Thea, what rating would you give The Night House 2020/2021?
I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10.
Always has to do better than
seeing all the dead bodies of women that look like you, and then going back to your house, and then being like, "Oh, my ghost husband, please make out with me."
Yeah. You know, I knew you didn't fuck those girls. You only care about me. And with that, Thea, what's the final word?
Dig.
Danny, what's the final word?
Flump.
HorrorDeconstruction.